Going to be it most. I had a lady call. She's going to be here in a few minutes, but it's 12:01, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Should we bring some more chairs in? I want to make sure everybody's got a place to sit. Everybody already knows I'm a compulsive smartass, right? So, yeah. Okay. As always, we're going to start with prayer, and Dr. Glenn Cope, our co-coordinator, and he's a pastor, and I'm going to ask him to do our prayer.
Would you bow? Our Heavenly Father, we want to pray that your hand will be upon our country, that you will guide us, help us live the way you want us to live, make decisions that you want us to make. And Father, we pray that this organization will be an influence for good and for your will. Pray, Father, that more and more people will bow their knee to you. Pray that in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Glenn. Michael, can I get you to use the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Michael. There you go. All right. I got a couple of announcements, and then I'm going to turn the program over to Joshua here. First off, y'all see my flyers on Facebook. Those of you that are on Facebook, I get a lot of likes. If you wouldn't mind, please hit share. That'll spread those and get them out to more people. The more people that see the flyer and hear about the meeting, the more people we'll have here. This is our record's lowest attendance at this meeting. You regulars know it's normally the fourth Saturday. I moved it to the third Saturday this month and next month because of the holidays. We're going to see how that goes. I'll make a decision about next year. We had our meeting at Mary's just 4 days ago, and I don't know if 2 meetings in 1 week is a little too much for Kay County, but we'll see how things go. And so that'll be next month, December 16th, the third Saturday, 12 noon here. Put that on your calendars. And then starting in January, we'll go back to the 4 Saturdays. So we'll be back on our normal schedule after we get through the 2 holiday months. I started having these meetings 4 years ago, January. And when I set up 4 Saturday, it was in January, and I didn't even think about November and December. But every year, it's conflicted with the holidays. Hello, thanks for coming. Can you find a seat?
Someone's already in it.
If you don't mind, we've got a sign-in sheet back there. You mind doing our sign-in sheet? Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, one of the things I want to cover, in fact, Claude and I were talking about it just a little while ago. Have any of you seen the GOP grassroots scorecard? Oh, okay. Well, then maybe. It was a score. We've got a division in our Oklahoma GOP, a major division. Our chairman, Nathan Dahm, who I'm sure most, if not all of you know who that is, most conservative Oklahoma senator we've ever had, and our vice chair, Wayne Hill, who is the guy who recruited me into OK2A 4 years ago, he's vice chair, and they aren't even speaking. They don't even talk to each other. So Wayne Hill, who was, as I said, the guy that recruited me into OK2A, he has resigned as of about 2 weeks ago from OK2A. And his grassroots, I put that in quotes, branch of the party, he put out a scorecard on all of the legislators, including Governor Stitt. Everybody except for 2 legislators got an F score. Hello. Sign-in sheet it back there if you would. Yeah. It's a joke. We got guys like Jay Stiegel, who's spoken at several of my meetings. Nathan Dahm got a passing grade, but he only got 80%. I don't know. It's a mess, and it's got a bunch of the legislators mad at that half of the GOP. So that's all we need is more rancor in the GOP. It's just, you know, I don't have to agree with somebody 100% of the time to be an ally with them and work towards a common goal. When the left gets together, they tend to concentrate on the 80 or 90% of the bills that they agree on. When we get together, way too many of us are concentrating on that 10 or 20% that we don't agree on. So we don't work together. We got to get this straightened out, folks, because they want to bury us, and I mean that literally. They want to put us in the ground, turn our lights out forever. So, Don Spencer did his best to try and get Wayne to either hold off or reevaluate, and Wayne didn't want to do that. It was a shock for everybody when Wayne resigned, but that's how it is. So, if you hear anything about it, that's the story on it. Everybody in here's got my number. If you don't, I got lots of cards. I'll give you another card. If you got any questions at all, you can either buttonhole me here after the meeting, or you're welcome to call me. Anybody is welcome to call me anytime, 24/7. You will never, ever bother me calling me about anything to do with our liberty and our freedoms, our Constitution. Not just 2A, anything to do with our freedoms. Okay. Another thing Wayne did, and there's a video out there that was about a 5-minute video that he cut. In that video, he said he evaluated the score. What it is, he at his own judgment, ranked these legislators on how closely they voted to follow the Oklahoma GOP platform. Now, there's a lot of subjective judgment when you're making that kind of a call. In his video, he said they evaluated like 400 bills that got passed and sent to the governor's desk and got signed. In fact, he only evaluated 115 of those bills, just over 1/4. So that, to me, is misrepresentation to say in your public video you graded these people on 400 bills when you only did 115. There's been a lot of talk about this, and we've got a bunch of very upset legislators, rightfully upset in my opinion. These guys, they take heat for supporting the Second Amendment and liberties, and it's not right that they take that heat and then get stabbed in the back. Plus, as soon as I looked at his scorecard, I knew something was wrong, because he carried their grades out to 2 decimal points. Now, if you're doing chemistry or physics, 2 decimal points is important. When you're doing something like this where there's a lot of subjective judgment involved with the score, 2 decimal points is ludicrous, in my opinion. So, anyway, like I said, if you got any questions, everybody knows how to get hold of me. Now, on to the star of the show. Joshua Reil. I've known Joshua now about 4 years, about the time I got involved with OK2A. He's state director for U.S. Law Shield. I just renewed my membership. I'm in my 4th. No. Yeah, 17. So no, I just started my 7th year. Yeah. Okay. So I have the basic program. I have all 50 state coverage option, and I have the expert witnesses option. It cost me $220 for the year, and the basic charge is less than $11. It's well worth it, folks. If you carry a gun or ever contemplate using a gun or any legal weapon, including your car, truck, a baseball bat, a knife, whatever, and you don't have something like U.S. Law Shield, it's like driving your car or truck around without insurance. If something happens, it's going to, even if you beat the charge, if they charge you, even if you beat them, it's going to ruin you financially unless you've got a lot more money than probably all of us in this room combined have. So it's something that's well worth it. Plus, you get the option of getting free, it's included under your membership, legal advice. A guy at my meeting Tuesday had traveled to 4 or 5 states, and he contacted U.S. Law Shield, and within like 4 hours, he had a call back from an attorney in each one of those states that he could talk to and find out exactly what was legal as far as carrying firearms in that state and what wasn't. So it's a great deal. I'm going to turn it over to Joshua. Thank you for coming up here, brother.
Absolutely. Well, Terry just did my job for me, so I guess I don't have to do anything.
That was called an endorsement.
So yeah, our program's been around for since 2009. We got started because of a 19-year-old teenager out of Houston, Texas, that decided he wanted to protect himself. He had 2 guys break into his apartment. He used a handgun that was inherited to him by his grandparents, perfectly legal. He didn't buy it on his own. It was inherited to him, and he works construction through the day. So we're assuming that they were after power tools. We're not sure exactly what. But he took out both intruders. The DA comes around. He does not like the fact that he's 19 years old and just used a handgun. How old do you have to be to use a handgun? 21 to purchase, 18 to own, and if it's self-defense, there's no age restriction. There's no age restriction when it comes to self-defense. I have 4 kids. My kids is age range 16, 13, 9, and oops, he's 3. Any of them. I mean, my 3-year-old probably not, but the rest of the 3 could absolutely use my gun in self-defense if they needed to. But the DA did not like the fact that this 19-year-old was using a handgun. So he starts diving into him, digs in a little bit more, and the 19-year-old finally gives him a statement, says that he had seen these 2 individuals once before around the apartment complex. Well, the DA immediately spun that into, oh, well, then you knew these individuals. They were friends of yours. Castle Doctrine didn't apply. That means deadly force wasn't authorized. Okay? So, turns around and charges him with 2 counts of first-degree manslaughter. First-degree manslaughter, 2 counts. Max sentence, 50 years total, 25 years each. Okay? So he's 19, he works construction, he's now facing 2 Class A felonies. He's looking at the rest of his life is about to be ruined. He needs an attorney. Can he afford one? Working construction? No. Anybody want to take a stab at what the retainer would be? Average retainer, use of any type of use of force. What do you think? Say it again. Pretty close. If you were to get our lead attorney, Robert Robles, out of Oklahoma City, if you were to try to hire him privately, it's $40,000 up front. And then it's $800 an hour after that. Okay? If I could pull that out of my pocket, I wouldn't be here, I promise. Right? So, of course, if you can't afford an attorney, what happens? One would be appointed to you. So here's the deal. Here's my soapbox for the day. Do you guys know who pays the public defender's paychecks? Do you know who pays them? Basically, we do, right? It's out of taxes. The state takes care of it. So who's coming after you? The state is. Okay. Most public defenders that I've known go on to work for the DA's office. Do they have your best interests at heart? What do you think they're going to do? They're going to come to you. They're going to say, hey, man, you've got this coming against you. If you try to fight this in trial, you're going to get that 50 years. But, hey, I worked this deal out for you. I've got this deal wrapped up that I worked hard for you. You go ahead and plead guilty, and we'll just give you 10. First of all, if they take it from 50 years to 10 years, they don't have squat on you. Okay? Secondly, the minute you take that plea deal, you're done. There's no appealing it. There's no fighting it. There's no overturning it. You are now branded a felon for the rest of your life. Good luck finding work. Good luck finding a place to live. Okay? No more guns. You're done. They were desperate. They need a confession. That's why they offered that type of deal. There was a warden that I talked to years back when I worked for Oklahoma County. He stated, and I never forgot this, he stated almost 60% of the people in jail right now wouldn't be if they just kept their mouth shut. But they get to them, and they start confessing. Whether they did it or not, there's been some cases, whether they did it or not, they confess it. Okay? This is not the time to say, oh, I didn't do anything wrong, so I don't have anything to worry about. Right? So, this 19-year-old decides, nope, I had every right to do what I did. I defended myself. I was protecting myself. I had every right to do that. We're going to go to trial. So they go to trial. Public defender barely helps in any way. I think he cross-examined like 2 or 3 people out of the 15 some odd witnesses that he put up on the stand. The prosecution puts his neighbors up on the stand, and they testified they heard screaming and shouting and arguing and then gunshots. And the DA spins it, says, see, it was a friendly argument. They were friends, and he turned it violent. Was that what happened? No. You think if somebody breaks into my house, there's going to be some yelling and screaming going on? Yeah, slightly. Okay? That's what was taking place. But the DA spins it that it was a friend of theirs. So, jury goes out, deliberates, comes back guilty. 32 years. This 19-year-old, for defending himself in his own apartment, just got found guilty and was sentenced to 32 years in jail. Okay? Over the course of the next 5 years, his family manages to raise some money. They go through 5 different law firms. They were on their 5th and final appeal. They finally get the experts. They finally get the guys that knew what they were doing when it comes to gun law. They were able to get the entire case tossed. Got his record wiped clean. Got him released back to his family where he's supposed to be. Best case scenario under the circumstances, right? Except 5 years of his life gone, and it cost his family $1.7 million in legal fees. Okay? There's no reason why he shouldn't have done that. There's no reason why he should have had to endure that. And that 5th and final firm are the ones that started LawShield, because they get tired of seeing it. Why should you have to shell out that kind of money for something that you had every right to do? Okay, but we're even going to take it a step further. Yes, we're going to help you. Yes, we're going to make sure that when that time comes, we've got you back. We guarantee there's going to be an attorney there to help you. Okay, most of the time, they're going to be able to get to whether they're at the hospital, whether you're at the jail, and help run the interference if they can. How long do you have to give a statement? Do you know? If you're involved in something, how long do you have before you have to officially give a statement? You have 72 hours. You have 72 hours before you officially need to give a statement. Okay? That attorney is going to help you. I'll cover that in just a second. But the reason we exist is to make sure that you guys don't wind up in jail for something you had every right to do. Okay? You shouldn't have to shut out that kind of money. So we've made it a point that no matter what you're doing, no matter what your income is, no matter what your situation is, every person should have the right to defend themselves. So $10.95 a month, we've got you covered. But like I was saying, we want to take it a step further. We want you to know what you're doing. We want you to know that when that time comes, exactly what steps you need to take. What do you say? Who do you talk to? Okay? Self-defense law in Oklahoma is under Title 21. It was section like 1290, some change. I don't know. I don't remember the exact one. But Title 21, Self-Defense Act of Oklahoma. It's broken down into several different parts. Law enforcement side, civilian side. Civilian side's broken down even further. And these terms I'm sure you've heard. Stand your ground, castle doctrine. Okay? Who knows the difference between the two? Besides the instructor back there. Anybody know the difference between stand your ground and castle doctrine? Stand your ground is the general area. right? Parking lots, malls, stores, front yard, backyard, the general public. Stand your ground. You have to meet force with the same amount of force that's being presented to you. Okay? Little old lady comes to hit you with the cane, you can't just blow her away. Right? You have to use the same amount of force that's being presented to you. But if somebody comes at you with a weapon of some kind, absolutely. You can do what you have to protect yourself. Castle doctrine is different in the aspect you have presumption. If somebody comes into your home and is not supposed to be there, and you've just identified they're not supposed to be there, you can instantly take action. You have presumption that they are there to do you harm. Lethal force is automatically authorized. Okay? That means you don't have to holler out to them. You don't have to warn them. You can immediately do what you need to do to stop that threat. Now, I can't legally stand up here and tell you to kill somebody, but I can tell you that the law says you have any means to stop that threat. 2 rounds, 10 rounds, doesn't matter. So let's walk through that. 2 o'clock in the morning, you hear somebody breaking in, you get up, you grab your weapon, you turn the corner, you are now face to face with this intruder. You've just identified they're not supposed to be there. You don't know this person. Under the Oklahoma Castle Doctrine, your first move should be what? Come on, what am I doing? Say it louder. Shoot. Pull that trigger. Drop him where he stands. I have a wife and 4 kids in my house. Is he going to take another step? No way. He's going to get dropped where he stands. Okay? Any force necessary. Now, I get people telling me, well, you can't shoot them too many times or they're going to come after you with excessive force. No, what's going to happen is because you're adrenaline, you're going to empty your magazine. Unless you are very well trained and you know how to combat adrenaline and you know how to maneuver and operate with that adrenaline pumping through you, you're going to empty your magazine just out of reaction. It's just going to be a continuous pull, hoping that you're hitting your target. Okay? So the amount of rounds used is irrelevant. What they're talking about excessive is you can't put 5 rounds into him, he falls, then stand over and put 5 more. That's excessive. I mean, unless he's an OSU fan, then, you know, whatever. Don't go excessive. That way, executing somebody like that, as Ursula in Oklahoma City can attest, is the quickest way to go to jail. Okay? And if you think that, if you know about that case and you think that he was in the rights, I will debate you all day on it because I saw the case files on that one. He had absolutely no reason to do what he did. Anyway, now I've got somebody dead or dying on my floor. What's next? Not yet. Not yet. Okay? This is where we want to change the way you perceive things, the way you see things. Your next thought needs to be, is there anybody else? That is step 1. Is there any other threat that I need to deal with? Step 2, I have just discharged a firearm possibly multiple times inside my home. Is there anybody still sleeping right now? Probably not. Okay? Well, no, my 16-year-old is probably still dead to the world. But everybody else is freaking out. So as I'm going through and I'm clearing the house, I'm gathering my family up. I'm going to get everybody into one single room away from the scene. First of all, they don't need to see that. Second of all, how much easier is that for me? I'm the one defending the house. I'm the one defending the family. And I had just reduced my area to 1 entry and 1 exit. Okay? Instead of the entire house, I got 1 entry exit that I have to worry about, and everybody I care about is behind me, so I don't have to worry about stray bullets. I don't have to worry about somebody getting taken hostage. Let me take a step back. If you hear that guy breaking in, you turn the corner, you see him, he's got your TV, and he's about to run out your door. Can I shoot him then? Is he a threat to me? Okay? He can take the TV. I can replace that. But what happens if he took off running in any other direction? What if he takes off running down my hallway? Can I shoot him then? Even if it's in the back? Absolutely. I can testify on why I did what I did, right? Am I going to allow him to grab one of my kids? Or barricade himself into one of my kids' rooms? Nope. I can testify on why I did what I did, right? It's probably one of the only times you'll be able to do that. Now, I've got the intruder down. I've cleared the home. I've got my family with me. There's one last step prior to calling 911. What do you think it is? Do I want the gun in my hand when the police arrive? What do I do with it? Here's why I don't want to do that, okay? And I get where you're at. You want to make it safe. You want to make sure that there's no other problems. I get that completely. But here's why I won't. Number one, if another threat arrives, do I really want to have to mess with loading that thing back up? Okay? Secondly, your house now is a crime scene. I'm going to set this gun down, but I am not going to unload it. I'm not going to chamber it. I'm going to leave it just as it is. That gun is, you can keep it on a table or keep it whatever, keep it within reach of you. You can have it next to you, but you're not going to leave. You're going to have it right with you, okay? You're not going to have it in your hand, but you're going to set it down, okay? I'm not going to load it. I'm not going to chamber it because it is now evidence. Anything I do to that gun is now tampering with evidence, okay? I've been doing this for quite some time, and I've gotten some crazy questions over the years. One of the most common ones I get, believe it or not, am I supposed to wipe my fingerprints off the gun? You would not believe how many times I actually get asked that, okay? No, this is your gun. If I'm the detective that comes on the scene and I see that the weapon that was used, the rack's locked back, the magazine's out, and it's been wiped clean, I'm going to have a few more questions for you, right? I am not going to give them any reason to investigate me any further than they're already going to, but I want you to be prepared. You're going to be investigated, okay? Now, I've set the gun down. I've left it just like it is. I've got my family with me. I've cleared the home. I've dealt with that one threat. Now I'm going to get 911 on the phone, and I'm going to get help on the way. Now, all my Law Shield people should know this by heart. You get on the phone with the operator, what do you tell them? You want to get them on the way, right? But adrenaline's coursing through your veins right now. What are you going to say? Okay. Everybody knows 911 calls are recorded, right? That's common knowledge. Can the DA use those calls? Can he manipulate and twist what you've just said? Absolutely. So how do you sound right now? With adrenaline coursing through your veins right now, how do you sound? Excited, anxious, right? Can he make it sound like you just got the biggest thrill of your life? Can he make it sound like you just enjoyed it? Okay. So there was a case, and this is why I bring it up. There was a case that I helped, I was one of the investigators for, and they put this guy on the stand, and the DA starts it out with the recording. And as soon as the recording's done, and he's rambling, he's not really making much sense. He's all over the place. He's excited. He's anxious. And as soon as the recording ends, he turns to the jury and goes, "Did you hear what I heard?" He enjoyed it. He was waiting for the day for something like this to take place. He sleeps with that gun right next to his head for the sole hope that he could legally kill somebody. What do you think he's going to do now that he's got the thrill of it? This is exactly what he wanted to take place. Okay? I am not going to give them anything that they can use against me, no matter how I sound. Okay? 4 quick statements. Number 1, identify who you are. 2, exact location. Also, if you can, where are you inside the home? Because you want them to come to you. Exact location. I have been the victim of a violent crime, and I need police, and I need an ambulance. And then you're going to do something you've been told your entire life not to do. Hang up the phone. Hang up the phone. Now, what are they going to tell you to do? Stay on the line. Keep the line open. Do you know why they do that? They want to get you talking. They want to get you talking because it is human nature. It is human nature when you're in a traumatic event to want to tell somebody what's going on. And they want to get you comfortable. They want to get you talking. And they also want to hear what's going on in the background. Okay, let's throw yourself back into my position again. I have a wife, 4 kids. What do you think they're saying? My 16-year-old, Dad, is he dead? Or my morbid daughter? I don't know why it has to be my daughter. Is there a lot of blood? Or how about my youngest? Daddy, that was loud. Did you have to shoot that many times? Do I want that on the recording? Okay. They don't realize what they're saying. They're just reacting. I don't want that on the recording. Hang up the phone. If they call back, don't answer. There's no law that says that you have to stay on the line. There's no legal recourse that can come against you because you hung up the phone. You have the right from accidental incrimination, self-incrimination. Okay? So, get off the phone. When the police arrive, I'm going to step away from the gun. Officer, I'll answer any questions. I will give you whatever statement is needed as soon as I have been cleared by a physician and I have spoken to my attorney. You're declaring two things at that point. Number one, I need to go to the hospital. Number two, I want to speak to my attorney. Okay? The minute you say attorney, they are required to stop all questioning. That's it. Now, does that mean they're just going to let you go? No. What's going to happen? Well, you're going to be detained. But the thing is, you're going to be detained either way. Whether you give a statement or not, you're still going to be detained. Can they just come onto the scene, take your word for it, and let you go? No. There's going to be an investigation. Okay? So you're going to be detained either way. No statement you give the officer up front can help you in any way. Now, I will tell you, these guys that are coming in, they're not the bad guys. These officers are on the scene, they're not the bad guys, but they have a job to do. What's their job? Get evidence, gather information, secure the scene, and detain any persons of interest. That's it. Okay? And they are very well trained. Guys, you would not believe how much of our training is involved in how to talk to somebody to get information. What they're going to do is they're going to try to get you calm. They're going to try to get you to relax a little bit. Hey, man, you've been through a rough night. Hey, I get it. I've got a family of my own. Man, you did what you had to, didn't you? What happens if you just barely acknowledge that statement? Well, he just admitted it, right? Or let's say you don't fall for that. Okay, I'll take it a step further. Hey, I know it's been a rough night. You're probably dealing with the biggest adrenaline rush you've ever had. I get it. Let's calm down a little bit. We're going to get through this together. It's not as big as you think. I tell you what, let me get somebody on the way. Let me call somebody. Let me get somebody here to come help you. Mother, brother, father, aunt, uncle, sister, cousin, somebody. And then I get them on the phone. Hey, I've got so-and-so here tonight. They've been through a pretty traumatic event. Now, they're okay, but I could really use your help. Do you know if they're on any kind of medication? Do you have a drinking problem, anger issues? Are they under any kind of mental health care, physician's care? I tell you what can you tell me about his history or present about this person so that I can best get him the treatment he needs? What can I do with all that information? Okay? Don't fall for it. They don't think that they're throwing you under the bus. They don't realize what they're doing. They think they're helping, right? Don't fall for it. Get to the hospital, get yourself checked out, ask for your attorney. Law Shield members, as soon as you get off the phone with 911, you hang up with 911, you call Law Shield. You call that emergency hotline. Okay? 24 hours a day, you're going to get a hold of that attorney, and then he's going to help you. Now, does that mean that he's going to just drop everything, go straight to the scene, and keep you out of jail? No. Logistically, that's almost impossible. Okay, but what he is going to do, and if you take our advice and go to the hospital, he's going to meet you at the hospital, if he can. If not, he's going to meet you at the jail, if he can. But he's going to get to you as soon as he can, and he's going to make sure that you're getting what you need. He's going to make sure that you don't give a statement until you're ready to give a statement. He will determine that. If you are not mentally ready to give any kind of statement to them, you're going to wait. You have 72 hours. Okay? And then he's going to push to see if they're going to detain you or if they're going to release you. you've got somebody on your side. Any questions on that? Everybody get the gist of what I'm trying to say?
Stand your ground, so a knife would be a threat.
A knife would absolutely be a threat. Absolutely. Do I need a gun to hurt you or kill you? No. Okay. You need to decide where that line's at. Where's that line in the sand that they cross before you jump to lethal? Okay. Yes, sir.
You can shoot him in the leg, or if you're trying to get away, shoot your tire out.
No. You shoot him in the leg. I mean, you can't just intentionally try to just maim him, whatever the case may be. You're there to stop the threat. Okay. As far as trying to keep them from running or keep them from going away, no, you can't just fire a shot like that. If they're running away, they're not a threat to you.
What about tire?
Nope. The minute you discharge your firearm, you've just now used lethal force. The minute you touch your gun, you're now using lethal force. Okay? In the eyes of the law, if you, let's say, right now I'm open carry, right? The only time I open carry is when I'm teaching, when I'm training, or when I'm going to speak. That's the only time. Other than that, it's concealed. So I've got a concealed gun. I've got it hidden away. This jackass is coming up to me and he's trying to threaten me and he's coming at me, right? And I expose that gun. I have just brandished. He has done nothing to warrant lethal force yet, right? He's done nothing to me to warrant for me to jump to my gun. I have just now brandished my gun. If he comes further and I touch that gun, now I'm brandishing with intent, and I just jump from misdemeanor to felony. Unless he gives me a reason to expose this gun or pull this gun, I can't. Now, if they've got a gun on me, or if I can see they're walking up and they've got some kind of weapon, I can absolutely draw down and do what I have to do. Now, let's say you drew down on this guy, but he takes off before you're able to get a shot off. Does that mean you're in trouble? Not necessarily. You can holster your weapon. But if he took off running and then you started firing, now you're in trouble. Yes, ma'am.
Where's the boundaries? Just your home or your whole property?
It's just your home. It's crossing the threshold.
So if you have a travel trailer, an RV or anything, is that considered?
Inside the RV, yes. Wherever you lay your head at night. Okay? If there's a bed inside that RV and you sleep in that RV, your RV inside that RV is now your castle.
But if it's not, you can't defend yourself on the property.
You can't be, if you're just on the property, no. Okay? That's thanks to, who was it, Treat that shot that bill down?
Yeah.
We tried to pass a law to where the castle doctrine would extend to your property line so that you could defend your property. But as it stands right now, thanks to the Senate, it's not the case. So you can only jump to lethal force, or castle doctrine is inside your home, place of business, place of worship, and vehicle. Okay?
Don Spencer will be back at that well
We're gonna-
in February.
We're
trying
going to
to
keep
get that
pushing,
property
but
extended.
as it stands right now, if they're just on your property, there's nothing you can do about it.
But if you're away in your RV, that becomes your
That's your dwelling. That's your home.
For the moment.
Absolutely.
okay.
It's no different if you're at a hotel. That hotel room is now your dwelling. Okay? You're staying at a friend's house. That is now your castle.
But
Okay?
if you're in an RV, you have to make sure what state you're in.
That's correct. Because if you're in a different state than Oklahoma, not all states have the castle doctrine. Okay? For example, Arkansas, and I'm sure they're going to change it, or I hope they're going to change it soon. Arkansas, right now, you have to prove you tried to retreat, or you tried to get away before you can use lethal force. And that's inside your home.
What if they're hands-on physically? Is
Say,
that,
say it again.
you know,
If they physically try to come at you,
yeah, they try to hurt me physically.
do what you have to defend yourself. Absolutely. Okay? This is what I was
Is
getting
that
at. Do I need a
warranted?
gun? Do I need a gun to hurt you or kill you?
No.
No. Okay? If you feel like your life is threatened, now's the time to use lethal force. Okay? Even before, so I don't like saying it like this because I always get backlash. Oh, you're being sexist. No, I'm not. Women are just
It's
built
not.
different than we are.
Yeah.
Women can jump to lethal force a whole lot faster than we can. Okay? If I come up in a threatening manner to a woman, she can almost instantly jump to lethal force if she sees that I'm about to hurt her. She has every right to do so. You don't have to wait until they're on top of you hurting you for you to use lethal force.
Or my kids.
Or your kids, absolutely. Somebody touches my kids and I'm not there, I feel sorry for that individual. My wife will tear their eyes out, okay? I guarantee you. Yeah, you do not have to wait until somebody is on top of your kids or on top of you to stop them, okay? It's defense. You don't have to wait until somebody's getting hurt to react, okay? But you have to see, just because somebody's yelling and screaming at you doesn't mean they need to get shot, okay? Most of the time, they're not going to follow through with that. Now, if they're coming up you and they're really coming at you and they're really getting up to you and they're raised up like they're going to hit, stop them. Do what you have to. Okay?
So, sorry.
Not good.
I'm new to Oklahoma.
Okay.
I've been here 4 months. I just want to know, so is it legal to carry a firearm with you?
Are you now a resident of Oklahoma?
I think so. I mean, I bought
Do
a
you
home here.
you bought a home here? Then yes. Okay?
But my driver's license isn't here yet.
So the minute you're now a homeowner inside of Oklahoma, you've got an address that is an Oklahoma address, you're now considered a resident of Oklahoma. Okay? Residents of Oklahoma have constitutional carry. If you can legally buy a weapon, you can now carry your gun. You do not have a license, you don't have to have a license to carry your gun. And that's open or concealed. You can carry it how you want. Now, I'm going to recommend doing it concealed.
Which
Means covering it up. Okay? To where nobody knows that you're carrying. I'll tell you what, before I leave here, I'm going to get you some information with somebody that can train you. If that's what you want. Okay?
Yeah.
I'll get you some training on how to handle yourself, okay? But so open carrying is only recommended for a law enforcement type. When you open carry and you go into places, you're making yourself a target, right? If somebody was going to do something to that area, the first thing they're going to do is get rid of the threats. If you're open carrying, you're a threat, okay? So that's why I always say concealed. Plus, there are some places, if they immediately see your gun, they're going to tell you to go put it up.
So is this open carry?
This is open carrying because you can see it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. If I had my shirt tucked in and there's no way that you could see that I was or untucked, and there's no way you could see it, then it's concealed carry. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Terry.
Could you cover us old Gomers? I turned 76 a couple of weeks ago.
I couldn't tell.
If a 30-year-old guy walks up and hits a 30-year-old guy, the guy that got hit can't pull a gun because that is not deadly force. But if a 30-year-old guy walks up and hits me, I can pull a gun and use deadly force because he's used deadly force on me, correct?
Absolutely.
That probably applies to at least half of this room.
Is there?
Well, that's good to know
There's an
because
age.
that makes a difference.
It's not really that it's age, it's your physicality.
Oh, okay.
Okay? It's your physicality. If somebody's got a disability and can't defend himself that well, he'd be able to jump to lethal force a whole lot faster.
That's one of the reasons I have
So,
a handicapped.
you're talking
pack.
about physicality, like a big bulky guy comes to a skinny guy?
Yeah,
That would,
absolutely. I'm a big guy, right? To a point. I'm pretty well trained. If I was to physically hit somebody, now I could be immediately charged with assault with a deadly weapon because of my training. I could immediately be charged with aggravated assault, just all kinds of stuff. Me coming up to any other persons, unless they're trained like I am or physically like I am, or equally, like, I could seriously hurt somebody, right? So they don't need to wait until I'm top of them do anything to use lethal force, okay?
okay.
That's where I say, where's that line at? Where's that line at? What is gonna have to happen for you to draw down, okay? What situation? But that's something you're gonna have to work out on your own. Just know that if you are in fear of your life or great bodily harm, it's authorization to use lethal force. Okay? There's a couple scenarios that you had a question. Go ahead.
You're not through yet, I'll wait till you get through.
So there's a couple of scenarios that I like to put out there to kind of judge your decision making on what would you do in this aspect. So there was a couple that pulled into a handicap spot, The boyfriend goes inside. Now this is a young couple. The boyfriend goes inside, starts doing something. This older gentleman that needed that parking spot sees that it's a young couple doing it, and he starts berating this lady that's inside this car. Not physically, just yelling and screaming at him. Okay? She makes the mistake, but she gets out of the car and starts yelling back. Well, the boyfriend comes out and sees what's going on and instantly turns and punches this old guy and lays him out. Well, they think that's the end of it, but the guy on the ground draws his gun and shoots the guy. Shoots the boyfriend, who was justified.
The older guy.
Was he? Because the other guy was walking away.
Oh, well.
The other guy knocked him down and was going to his girlfriend. He wasn't coming back after him. Did he have a right to shoot him? So this is the type of thing that you need to look through. Who would have been justified in that aspect? Honestly, the only person that would have been justified in defending themselves is if the older guy saw the guy coming at him. He justifiably defended himself against him. That lady could have defended herself against the guy coming at her. Okay? But waiting until I'm down and the guy's walking away to shoot him, that's when you're wrong. Okay?
What about kids?
Kids, they can jump to lethal force almost instantly, depending on the situation, unless it's another child.
But BB guns aren't like considered real guns, right?
Yes, it is. It depends on the matter that you're using or which way you're using it, but absolutely. A BB gun can do just as much damage in the right. You shoot somebody in the wrong spot, shoot them in the eyes, whatever the case may be, you can do some serious damage.
I think BB guns are illegal in Ponca City.
Are they really?
I believe they are. Because they've had so much damage. There used to be
Terry,
a
we
city
passed that
ordinance.
law, didn't we?
Yeah, because there were some serious restrictions.
Right,
The BB has to be plastic,
right. It has to be like
under 400 feet
under
per
4
second,
yeah.
and the pellet cannot leave your property.
The property that you're at.
Yeah.
So, for that reason, Oklahoma City had banned all air rifle, all pistols, all everything. Well, we stepped in and said, no.
Well, that used to be here too.
Okay.
Didn't have air.
But air pistols and BB guns could do just as much damage as a.
Well, I live in Blackwell now, so
Okay.
I don't know if it's the same as.
Yeah.
Well, state law says that you can do it on your own property. You have to make sure that it's, number one, doesn't exceed 400 feet per second, doesn't leave your property, and it's got to be plastic BBs or plastic pellets.
No, they're metal ones. And there's.
Just because if a child is using that type of weapon to defend themselves, they're justifiably doing so if it warrants it. Okay, if another kid's just coming up talking crazy and they shoot him, he's wrong.
They're
Okay?
still young. I haven't shown them, but I was given like 14 of them, and they're all
Jeez.
from and some are semi-automatic, and I
Train yourself first, and then train yourself first to where you can train them. Okay, get the training you need first, and then you can train them. How old are your kids?
they're turning 8 and 9.
Okay, so yeah, I actually started my kids training. I started training probably about 6 years old is when I started training them. So that by the time they get to where they could really grab it and use it, it's no longer a mystery. It's just a tool that Daddy uses. You had a question?
There's two specific areas that I have the biggest question about, and that is first is let's say you're in a mall,
In a mall? Okay.
okay, and you see something happening.
Yep.
Okay, and the second one is if you travel a lot, different states.
Yep.
You're confronted, you're side of the road, right down, traffic accident, and people get aggressive. So there's two different, totally different situations right there that have always been a question to me because when you are older, you don't want to get in a fist fight, you know.
Right.
You want to protect yourself, you want to protect your
Right.
family. And like in a mall or at church or family gathering, things happen. So I know there's That's a lot of ground to cover.
So-
with two different,
So-
situations.
Mall is gonna be no different than the general public, okay? If you're inside a mall, most malls say that you can't carry inside there, right? You can't carry your gun in, but if you're concealed, how do they know?
Right.
Right? If you're concealed, you're fine. Now, will you get in legal trouble because you used it inside that mall? If it was a justified shoot, no. The mall can't do anything about it, okay? Those little signs that you see on the stores that says no guns allowed, that means squat. It really means squat. It means that that owner prefers that there not be guns on the premises, okay? But if they ask you to leave or ask you to put it away and you refuse, that is the only time you're gonna be wrong. And even then, it's a $250 trespass charge, okay? You can use the same basics of self-defense as far as when to use lethal force at the mall, at the parking lot, nothing's gonna change. You can use the same reasoning on when to jump to lethal force. If you feel like the guy's about to hurt me, I can absolutely do it, okay? On the side of the road, you're very vulnerable, all right? The issue is what state are you in, okay? You have to know the laws of the state that you're in. Oklahoma, if you're on the side of the road and somebody comes up to you and starts being aggressive, or you were involved in an accident and they start coming at you and they physically come to you, you have a right to defend yourself, okay? You can't shoot somebody over words, right? But if he comes at you with a weapon in his hand, or if he comes up and he's about to hit you, absolutely.
I was in a citizens police here in Ponca. We had a scenario that we entered a house. This is totally different. And anyway, the person had was barbecuing.
Yeah.
And they had a long spatula, fork, whatever. So we stopped the person with the gun, but we didn't take him. Anyway, it's different. This is different from my question. Yes.
Any other questions for me? Yes, sir.
Here about a month or so ago, there were a lot of robberies.
Uh-huh.
People going around opening car doors.
Yeah.
There was 12 guns stolen.
Quit putting your guns in
And
your car.
unfortunately, one of them was mine, and I called All Shield.
Uh-huh.
And the attorney called me and told me, make sure I get a police report so
Yep.
that I can prove
Absolutely.
that gun was stolen.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
what would happen if that gun was used and they did come to, would Law Shield
Do you have the gun owner identity theft?
do what now?
We have an optional that's called gun owner identity theft.
Okay.
It's for that exact case.
I don't know that I do.
Then I'll
I
fix
do
that
have-
before I get out of here. It's $6.95 a month. The reason for it is because of what it deals with. It deals with that exact case. If your gun gets stolen and it gets used in a crime, they still have the right to come after you,
Yeah.
even after you report it. Because then they're going to say, well, you didn't secure well enough,
Yeah.
or it's your fault. It got into their hands, okay? We will fight that case if you have that option, okay? The reason why we have to put that as optional is because we have 15 to 20 cases every week across the nation. Every week of our members having their guns taken from them. 99.9% of the time, it's out of their vehicles. Please, if you cannot, if you use any other way you can do it, don't leave your guns in the vehicles unless they're really secured. Okay? That's where most of them get taken from. But if you have that option, yes, we will. Now, will we leave you just high and dry if you didn't have that option? Probably not, but I can't guarantee you it's going to be at a no-cost rate. Okay?
My son was a cop, and so this is a stupid question, maybe, but I carry handcuffs in the back seat.
Over there.
Anyway, is there any problem with that? I mean,
No,
okay.
but you
But I
can't.
also carry the key too.
But here's the thing, is as a normal, non-commissioned officer, as an everyday citizen, you can make what's called a citizen's arrest only towards a forcible felony. Does everybody know what that is? A forcible felony. Somebody's about to get hurt, property's about to get destroyed, whatever the case may be, that is a forcible felony. okay? You can intervene in that aspect. But if you try to detain somebody or handcuff somebody prior to that, you can be arrested for, it's what is it? It's not necessarily kidnapping, it's false imprisonment, okay? Because you're preventing them from going off when you know you didn't have any right to do so, okay? If you're talking about shooting them or hurting them and then handcuff them, no. Because the minute you stop that threat, you need to get away from them. If you're a first responder and you can't just walk away whether they caused it or not, I get it. Do what your conscience will allow you to clear. But if you try to go and either treat them medically or do anything after the fact, you're playing with fire. You're opening up a can.
Sorry. Do you think that you should register all your guns?
No,
Okay. I just wondered. And
we don't have a registry here,
Okay.
okay?
So the guns that I registered in California.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to.
Sell them.
But somebody kind of brought it up to others and I had no choice. But anyhow,
I don't want anybody to know what guns I have.
well, I didn't try to.
I know, I get it. If you're coming from Oklahoma, welcome to the world. Or coming from California, but we don't have a registry here, and there's no need to register them, and I would anyway.
Yeah.
But if you have several guns that are registered, I'm not kidding. Sell them and get different ones, and do it here so that nobody knows what you have.
And then where can I go to learn to shoot better?
I'll fix that in a minute.
And a rifle.
When we do the background checks here, well, I think I've got one in Kim.
The next background check,
Uh-huh.
the 4473.
Yeah, when you
Okay.
purchase a
Uh-huh.
firearm, does serial number go on that so they can look back?
The serial, what is it? It's not the serial number. It's a different number that they use. Not the actual serial number of the gun, but the type,
Make and model.
the type, make, and model, right? But not the actual serial number of it.
Oh,
Now the persons, if it's an FFL, the person has to keep track of that.
they
have to have that.
They could trace
But they would have
down.
to subpoena it and all that other stuff.
It's not like a registration where it'd be easy access. Okay.
They would have to get a court subpoena, go to that, unless they're the ATF and they think that, well, never mind, I'm not gonna go there. But to get those records, a court order would have to be pulled for those.
Okay.
What is the problem with registration?
Because then the government knows who's armed and what they've got.
Easy access.
It's very easy access to find, I'm
Okay.
100%.
And when they seize guns, they know exactly where to come and what to pick
Yeah.
up.
Right, that's why all that talk, I had a bad boat accident and I lost all my guns. Because people don't want people to know what we've got.
And that'll get the ATF to turn around and leave your front porch, won't it?
Yeah, it sure
Yeah,
will.
they will never hurt
And
that.
if you're not familiar with what we're talking about, the ATF has got a wild hair up their tails here lately, thinking that they can just come onto your property and ask for general information without a warrant. You can tell them to pound sand. And then if you're a Law Shield member, call us, we'll deal with it.
And call
Well,
the
they-
sheriff.
And they call the sheriff, yeah, tell them to get off the property. Absolutely, call the sheriff first. Yeah, call the sheriff first, tell them there's somebody here, I don't know if he's an agent or not, but he's asking for stuff that I don't feel comfortable giving.
There's a
and he'll come
video
handle
on YouTube of an ATF at a front door.
Getting
I
stupid.
think it was in Indiana, maybe.
I
Anyway,
saw that.
it ended up with 4 or 5 local cops there. They laid him on the ground, on
Cuffed
his
him.
face,
Yep.
handcuffed him.
Yep, because he wasn't complying with them.
No,
He
exactly.
kept screaming out, I'm an agent. I don't really know who you are. Until I prove what you are, do what we tell you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. It was.
Would her
And in
registered
Oklahoma,
firearms?
and in Oklahoma, if that agent hasn't cleared himself through the
Through the
sheriff,
sheriff, yep.
he has absolutely no jurisdiction.
So what's supposed to happen is if anytime the federal government comes into any county, they're supposed to go through the county sheriff. And the sheriff is supposed to give them permission to do so. But the problem is they don't have teeth right now. We try to give it to them, but right now the sheriff doesn't have teeth. They can't do anything about it really if they go behind his back. So
Would her registered guns in California, would those get picked up here in Oklahoma? I mean, is that on some kind of national database or is that strictly in
I don't
California?
know. I don't know how that works.
I think I
I've not dealt with it. But I can promise you, if there's a state registration, the federal government knows about it.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
I guarantee it,
Especially in California.
especially in California. Did you guys not hear what California did the other day? With the Chinese
Yeah.
What
president?
did they have it?
They dropped the American flags and raised Chinese flags.
They
China
cleaned
flags.
all the crap off the sidewalks.
Yeah.
Well, they're saying that
What
the
kind of crap
homeless
is
are
that?
missing now.
What's
Like,
that?
Missing. The homeless are missing.
Oh, wow. I'm sure.
Like, not
Yeah,
around.
they cleaned them all up.
Anything else for me?
So if I buy a handgun at Woods, it does not go to the Fed at this time.
The next background check does not have the actual serial number to that weapon. No, it has the make and model of what you purchased, but that's it. And if you've gotten your SDA license after November 1st of 21, right? That now qualifies as your next background check. So all you have to do is put your license number on the or your STA license number on the form and a couple of little bits of information, but you don't have to worry about delays or denials anymore.
Okay, what is that?
The STA license is the concealed carry license. The concealed carry license, we stopped calling it that because we call it the Self-Defense Act license now, or the STA license, because you can conceal or open. There's no reason to call it a concealed license, right? So if you've taken the 8-hour course, and if you haven't, I know somebody that could do it for you. If you've taken the 8-hour course, okay, it's a legal portion, shooting portion. You take that, you submit all that information. I think it's $100 for 5 years, $200 for 10 years, but don't do the 10 years, do the 5 year. Because then the license for the background check, they only qualified for the 5 year anyway. So just do the 5 year. But if you have that, when you go to do your background check with the 4473, you fill out your general information, your address, phone number, everything like that, then your license number, and that's done. There's no more delays, there's no more denials or anything like that. Your ID is now your background check.
Kobe Snyder told me that he can take a 10-year Self-Defense Act card
For the first 5 years.
for the first 5 years, exactly.
5 years.
Yeah, for the first 5 years. After that, it's not.
Right.
not-
We were
not
told
valid.
to take the 10 years, so that's what we did.
Do you have to have a license to ship it?
No.
Gee,
No.
It's just something you want for,
You don't.
If you want to travel outside of Oklahoma, because we have constitutional, if you want to travel outside, it's good to have. Because there's other states that recognize our license, therefore you can carry in those states.
And it
Okay.
doesn't hurt to get the education on the laws,
Correct.
and you get some range time.
Yeah.
It's well worth my plus. My thoughts are, if I ever use my weapon in a self-defense act and I don't have a SDA,
They're gonna do a deeper
the
dive. on it.
DA's gonna beat me over the head with that in the courthouse. You didn't even bother getting trained.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not so much concerned about being on lists, because we're all, especially me, are on lists all
Somewhere.
over the place.
Oh, Lord
Yeah.
knows you are.
Yeah.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
This didn't happen to me, but I had a friend, and he told me about it. He was headed south, and he got stopped by the tribal police.
Highway patrol?
No, tribal.
Tribal, okay, okay.
And, you know, I know the procedure here in Oklahoma is you put your hands
Yeah.
on the wheel and
Yeah.
you reform them and all that. And, he had a concealed carry, but he forgot, because he got pulled over by tribal police, they didn't give him a ticket or citation or anything, but afterwards, he said, we were talking about it, he said, should I have done it with a tribal police here in because they're not.
So tribal police are federal. I need everybody to understand, they're on the federal level. Now, they don't have jurisdiction over you outside of tribal lands. Okay, so if you get pulled over by tribal police, it's on the reservation. That's the only time that they have jurisdiction. But here's the problem with that. They don't have to, none of our state laws matters right there. Thanks to the McGirt decision, nothing statewide matters there. If you have a gun on your premises and you're on a reservation, they can take you to jail. They can take you to jail.
Is that
Because-
all tribes?
Yeah, it's any Indian tribe. All tribes.
So no attorney
But
can
here in Oklahoma,
get
we
get through that?
so where's the
Here in
reservation?
Oklahoma, we
Everywhere.
can't be hardly any place without
Right, but here's what I'm trying to express, okay? I know you can, especially in Oklahoma, almost anywhere is a reservation somewhere, right? There's somewhere that is tribal land, okay? But who governs that area, okay? There's parts of Tulsa that's on a reservation, but Tulsa PD and Tulsa County has jurisdiction over that, right? I'm talking, if you get pulled over by tribal police, you are deep within the reservation where the tribal police handle it, okay? But the tribal police, they can go off of federal law. There is no federal self-defense laws. There's no federal castle doctrine. If an Indian breaks into your house, and this is something that we're trying to fight, and this is something we're trying to fix, as it stands, thanks to the McGirt decision, if an Indian tribal member, a card-carrying Indian, comes into your home and breaks into your home, and you discharge your firearm, because it is now a federal matter, they can still come after you. Because it is no longer a state or county matter, it's a federal matter. Okay? Now, what are the chances of that? In Oklahoma, it's higher than normal, but you just need to be aware because of that decision. Okay? Yes, sir?
So, do y'all,
Yes.
y'all, then, will you have even a chance?
As far as the attorney, we have fought, there's 3 cases that we have fought so far based off the McGirt decision, and we won all 3. So yes, there's still a chance. Just be aware that it's gonna take probably longer than normal to get it
A
cleared,
lot of hoops to jump.
because it's no longer on a state level. We will fight all the way up through the Supreme Court if we have to. We will not stop until you're exonerated, okay? But just know that if it's a tribal situation or if it's on tribal land, it's gonna throw a wrench and everything, and it's gonna be a lot harder to deal with. Doesn't mean we're not going to, but it's gonna be harder for us to deal with it.
So, the name Ponca City, is this all a reservation per se?
I don't know
Or
where all the
what does that
reservation
make?
borders are, but Ponca City is not ran or governed by tribal police or tribal government, okay? It's local PD and county. Trust me when I tell you, when you're actually on a full-on reservation, you'll know it.
So when you
It's
go,
BIA.
when you go
Yeah.
south of town, the Ponca Reservation's just south of town, then you go to the Oto, Missouri, you go right through those going south.
So,
Over in this area, over here, there's not so much.
Tonkwall has a reservation by
Yeah,
Tonkwall.
I'm
but
talking-
there's signs up places, you'll know when you start going into those
And then
areas.
are troopers, what are troopers?
State troopers, they're state
Are
police.
those different than the regular?
Yes, and the aspects of they have jurisdiction all over the state, no matter where you go. Okay? State police, highway patrol, the state police, they have jurisdiction everywhere. Okay? Even if it's on city streets, they still have jurisdiction. They are state police, they can cover the entire state. Okay? County, city, and municipal areas, they are only subject to those areas, right? Highway patrol or state police, they can go all over the state. They have jurisdiction everywhere. So if you're driving through town and you're flying and a highway patrol stops you, yes, they can still give you a ticket, even though it's not on the highways.
The casinos are tribal.
Yeah, all casinos are tribal, or most.
What do you mean when you're there at the,
Yeah, it's on tribal land and it has tribal, it's governed by a tribal body. It's all tribal, so nothing county or state has to do with it. Mr. Harley?
I was gonna say, this happened a few years ago, but, I was going through Fort Oakland, their community east of Tonkwall, going a little too fast. I got pulled over. I didn't get a ticket, they just gave me a warning, but I had just been out to the Ponca City Rifle and Pistol Club, target practicing, and I drove back through their community instead of going around it. The officer told me that he had every right to confiscate all my weapons at that point.
Yep.
And he didn't do it, and thank him.
That was
profusely
very
for
good
that.
on him, because he could have.
So he just gave me a warning for the
Yep. For the speeding.
And then we talked about that particular issue of they had the right to confiscate all the weapons.
That's
that I had in
correct.
the car. And I had a bag full at that time. because I'd been out target practice.
Yeah, they could confiscate everything and take it to jail if they wanted to. Yeah, you just have to be aware, but that is a possibility.
So I
But
don't
it's-
drive through there anymore.
I was like, that's the possibility of that is there, but it's also, let's say, the post office. So the post office is considered federal property, right? So if you go onto the into the parking lot of a post office, or even up to like halfway part of the street, if you just so happen to be stopped right there, technically, they could charge you with a federal crime for having a gun on property. Okay, is it going to happen? Probably not. But they could enforce it if they wanted to. Okay, it's just the possibility is there. You just have to be aware that it is. Okay.
What about guns in home schools?
If you are homeschooling, it is no different than your own having it's your home. Okay, whether
That
you're
takes
homeschooling
precedent.
or not, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay, whether you're homeschooling or not. Plus, at the very least, it would be considered a private school, and you can do what you want because it's yours.
Well, there had been several years ago, I think it was federal, that somebody in the federal government was trying to push that if it's a homeschool, no guns. That's
No,
why I
they
asked.
can
I didn't
get
think
it.
it had gone anywhere.
Nope. Yeah, good luck trying to enforce that.
And there's a way to find the borders of the reservation somewhere?
So most of the time, they're either marked there's signs or their fences or anything like that, but it's not something that you really need to worry about. I just want to make you aware that the possibilities are there. You don't need to lose sleep over it or worry about it too much. Just be aware that if you are pulled over by tribal police, or if you cross in onto tribal land that's being governed by a tribal government, just be aware of what they could do if they wanted to. Okay.
When I lived in Arizona, there's two guys I knew, they had between them about $60,000 worth of Harleys, two Harleys. They were riding in Arizona, which didn't have a helmet law, but they inadvertently passed on to tribal lands. They got stopped, and then they tried to argue with the tribal police officer, which is never a good idea. They confiscated their Harleys, and they never got them back. And they each got fined like $5,000.
Yeah. First of all, don't argue with the officer, period.
Period.
If you are not going to win that fight on the side of the road. If you feel like you're being done wrong, take it to the judge. Talk to him in court. File a complaint. Go to the supervisor if you have to, but you are not going to win that fight on the side of the road. And I promise you, when I was patrolling, if you were a dick to me, we're going to take our time. And I'm going to see what else I can find. If you instantly threw attitude at me as soon as I get to the window, okay, we're going to take our time with this. Right? Be cordial, be kind, don't escalate it. Okay?
Every one of those police officers has no idea, every time they walk up to a car
Whether or
on
not
a
we're gonna
traffic
get shot.
stop, whether they're gonna walk into a bullet in the head.
Yeah.
And I take that in consideration. I tell them up front, even though I'm required to, that I'm carrying. I have all the windows rolled down when they walk up the car, and I got both hands at the top of the steering wheel, and I don't turn loose of the steering wheel until I have their okay to reach for something in my glove box.
State law says that even if you have your license, you do not have to declare that you're armed. I am going to tell you that I recommend you do anyway.
Yeah, amen.
Because if I'm the one that's pulling you over, and I get there and I'm talking to you, and you declare that you've got a concealed carry license or you're an SDA license, and that you're armed, I can take a breath, right? I know out of all the idiots I'm going to deal with today, you're not one of them. You've already done a background check. You've already been cleared through that, right? Also, with you being straightforward with me, you care about my safety as well.
Amen.
Right? So that means I'm going to be able to chill out a little bit. I'm going to be able to relax most of the time. I'll let them go with just a warning, depending on how bad the situation was. Okay? I like the incident I had. I was traveling through the north part of Kansas, and he said he clocked me going 85 and a 35.
Really?
I'm not sure if that was accurate. Probably pretty close. But as soon as he pulled up, or as soon as he came up to my window, I said, "Officer, I'm a deputy sheriff with Oklahoma County. I am currently armed." He goes, "Yeah, me too." I said, right? I get it. You don't touch yours, I won't touch mine. Okay? But if you want to be a stickler of the law, no, you don't have to tell them. But I recommend to do it anyway.
Let me cover one more thing I found out recently. In both Oklahoma and Kansas, if you have any writing on your license plate frame, it gives probable cause for them to pull you over and stop you.
Yep.
And every dealer, when you pick up your new car, it says Joe Blow's, Chevy dealers, wherever. So I got stopped north of Wichita coming back from a stockholders meeting I've been to in Denver a couple of years ago. And that's why he stopped me. I wasn't speeding, and he had me open the trunk, and he looked in it, and I had visions of everything being spread out along the shoulder of the road and me having to repack everything. But he was real cool about it. But that was in Kansas, and then I asked when I got to Oklahoma, and the same thing applies here. So I immediately, before I pulled off back on the road, I got a screwdriver out and took the license plate frame off. So just FYI, you never want to give an officer probable cause.
If anything is obstructing, surrounding, or on top of the license plate, that is probable cause for us to stop you.
And that includes the covers and all of that, yeah.
Those people that think that they've got those dark tinted things to try to hide from the cameras, as soon as I see that, I can pull you over.
So
That gives me
we're
probable cause.
front license plate too.
Front license plate,
Just
unless
the
it's a
license
state,
plate.
unless it's a state that requires front and back, like Texas.
If it has a license.
If it's just that, it's usually just the rear that we're looking at.
And then where can you go to learn how to shoot better? Or that's back there.
He's ready to
I
go.
just wanna make
Let's-
sure.
Let's get together after the
Yeah,
meeting.
after the meeting, I'll talk to you. We'll get you set up. Anything else for me?
Even if you had a bike blue thing, they probably still pull you over.
I mean, they still have probable cause to pull you over.
Yes.
That doesn't mean you're gonna pull over. If they pulled over every car in Oklahoma and
Right.
Kansas that had writing on the license plate frame, that's all they would do.
Right.
But it gives them probable cause, and I think the reason he exercises probable cause.
It's because your
Good
car
seeing you,
looks
man.
like.
Yeah,
Is there
well, I was in the
signals?
Infinity and I got some sexy pipes and stuff on.
There is.
I mean, it looks like the car he would expect to be booking or clocking at 90
I bet he was
miles an hour.
tripping out when he came up to the window and saw you. He
I
said,
did.
in this car? Yeah, right.
I got radared in Albuquerque, I-25 and I-40 meet. There's a big flyover from southbound I-25 to eastbound I-40. I got radar coming off of that at 96 miles an hour in the middle of town. And I came down and the road was clear, so I cut across 4 or 5 lanes of traffic to get over the fast lane. And he stopped me, and I don't know, but at 96, he might have been able to put me in handcuffs.
Oh, what was the actual speed limit?
65.
Not quite.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you're playing with fire, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he came up, I gave him the paperwork, he went back and ran me, and he came back, handed it to me. He said 2 things. He said, slow down. He said, nice car. And I think the haircut
Right.
had a lot to do with it. But now, anytime you can avoid giving police probable cause, then if they stop you and they don't have probable cause, that gives you a lever in court to get out of whatever they charge you with at that point. Whatever they charge you
What
with.
kind of car was it?
It was a dark blue Infinity
Oh,
coupe
so
sitting out
it's
there.
after you.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my hot rod. I've got a Prius that I drive most of the time. It cost me exactly 3 times per mile for fuel to drive the Infinity. The last time I filled up my Prius, folks, 6 cents a mile for fuel. That's a 100-mile drive for $6 in gasoline. And I buy the 100% gasoline. If it was the regular ethanol, it probably would have been about 4 cents a mile. But the Infinity, I've decided to sell it 6 times because it sits in the garage. And every time I get out and drive it, in about a half hour, I decide to keep it because it's so damn much fun.
I didn't figure the cost of your new battery, did it?
I put a battery in the Prius yesterday, and I'm going to put one in the Infinity here pretty soon. The one I've got in there is 7 years old. But I keep a battery tender on it when it's parked. That makes a difference. So,
All right, before I get out of here, because I had a little bit of drive back, if you are not a member of Law Shield, and you want to look, even just look into it, let me get you to scan the barcode real quick, and you can fill it out later whenever you want to.
Who in here is a member?
Most of you guys are, okay.
Highly recommended, folks.
Very much recommended. And this is not, I'm not pushing you to sign up today. You don't even have to do it today. But if there's any possibility, if you want to look at it, get your phones out and scan this real quick. It'll download the app for you and you can research all you want.
You have a card?
In the car, I'll get you one.
So you just take a picture of it?
You don't have to take a picture, watch. So you're gonna get it in front of there. You just hit open.
Did you get a new update on yours?
So I'm gonna get it open on this. All right,